Okay, so welcome back to part 4 of the C70 Honda Crunch. So, I think I haven't actually said yet that I have found out the information on the bike. So, I actually in this week received the logbook for the bike. So, I do officially own the bike now. So, I'm not as worried about spending a load of money on something that's not mine, even though I had paid for it. But I've got proof now with the V5 that the bike's mine. So I ended up doing a lot of digging around Facebook groups and stuff, and I came across a guy that that did like well, I'm not sure if it was an HPI check, but he basically found out from the engine number and the frame number, he found out the year of manufacture, which is 1974. So those of you who are trying to be guessing, it's definitely a 1974 model. He found out that it was originally always been blue, which obviously the colour is blue, even though it's been probably sprayed a couple of times. And it's never been sort of deemed off, sort of written off or anything. So there's no sort of write-off title to this. And I think he said the last time it was MOT'd was 1995, I think. So this bike hasn't run for a long time. The guy that I got it off said that it had been running quite recently, but I don't really believe that. Yeah, I think this has been sitting in someone's barn for probably a good 20 years in the condition it was when I got it. So yeah, that's what I've sort of found out since, with no information. So the other thing is, I have been speaking to a lot of people about spare parts for this. Now the bill is starting to rack up quite a lot. I think I'm looking at spending at least £2,500 on this bike, plus the money I paid to get the bike. I'm sort of trying to see what I can salvage from what I've already said I want new before I order anything. But I'm not going to cut any corners on this. This bike, when it's done, is going to be as close as I can get it to factory finish. There is certain parts that are discontinued anymore, so it's going to be hard to get specific parts that if I haven't got them at all, it's going to be very difficult. If I've already got the part and it's not in very good condition, I can either try and refurbish it myself, or get it taken somewhere and get that refurbished. But bits I haven't got are going to be a bit difficult, but I'm still sort of trying to work out what I need and what I need to get. So anyway, that's for a later video. The main thing for me at the moment is to get this frame repaired and sanded all back, and basically the mission is to get this frame so there's no rust on it at all, with no holes, and it's completely repaired, ready for paint, which won't happen quite yet. But I want to get that into that state so I know that once the engine is all rebuilt and stuff, the frame is going to be ready to go. So let me show you what I've done so far. I've sort of set this frame up, the bike up on a jig, so the bike, I'll zoom in a second. The bike now is connected to this plywood base I've made. It's screwed down with straps on the front and on the back, and it's solid. It's not going anywhere. So my mission now is to set my laser lines up and get a perfectly centered line through the bike, get that transferred onto the base, which I've already done once. I want to double check that that's right. I need to mark the position of this stud, is probably the key to everything. So I need to get this marked on the board, which I have marked. This is the only two marks I've done, is the centre line and this centre stud. I want to put a lot more measurements onto this board. I want to know where this point is here, where the end of the mudguard is, which is this point here. I want to know where this point here is. Mark that down there. I'm probably going to mark this hole, centre hole, down here. I'm going to measure up as well and get the height as well as the position this way. And yeah, anything that's got reference points on, I need to get that marked down on here. So it's probably going to take me all morning to get this all set up, but I'll sort of set the camera up and you can sort of see in the next sort of 3 or 4 minutes how I go about doing this, and then once I've done it all, I'll explain exactly what I've done. So let's get some lines up and see where we go from there.
I surrender me to quit your energy. You've been sending signs knowing they're getting through, sending them on back. What is it about me? How come you can't let me go? 'Cause I've been waiting patiently, and you still got me on my toes. What I'm craving hit me like a tornado. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go. What is it about me? How come you can't let me go? 'Cause I've been waiting patiently, and you still got me on my toes. What I'm craving hit me like a tornado. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go.
Alright, so there you go. Nice time lapse there with some laser lines. I've sort of marked the key points of the back of this section. Now I'm going to be cutting off. I'm just going to flip to my GoPro and give you a bit more of a close-up of what's happened here. So so now on the GoPro, what I've done is I've marked the centre line of this strut here, on here, which is this line here. I've marked the edge of this frame here, which is this edge here. This line's the centre line, that edge is the other edge. That's the two ends of the strut, which are pretty much equal, to be fair. I've also marked the centre line of this hole, which is this first line here. The second line back is that point there, which obviously they're quite close together. And then it's the same with this hole here. This section I haven't got yet. It's split here, so I'll probably leave this connected for now when I've cut, because I'm going to sort of cut up more of this end. But I've marked that position, I've marked that position. Obviously they're different. I've also sort of written the heights down of everything as well. I've marked the end, back. I don't think that's quite accurate because obviously I think this has been cut before, but I'm hoping once I've got this section here back on, I can then offer this up and get it somewhere near. Obviously I've got this hole and the height as a reference. I've got this height as a reference, but again I don't think that's correct. And this, I think it butts up tight here, so I could probably reuse this. I'll see if I can get it off in one piece, which I'm sure I can, and go from there. So I think, to be fair, I've got a lot of reference points here. I'm not sure if this is overkill or if this is a good idea, but it's definitely going to help me do what I need to do 100%. So what I'm now going to do is set up my grinders. I'm going to grind this weld off here, same on the other side. It doesn't look like there's any weld on the back inside there. This shaft goes all the way through to the other side, so I'm hoping if I can get these welds ground off, I should be able to knock this stud out. If it looks in salvageable condition, I'll reuse it. If it looks like I need to replace it, I'll either replace from somewhere, I'll get one made. I know someone who can make me one of these if I need to. But I think this is going to be probably alright once I've ground this off. And then obviously I need to remove these like little sections here. I've not seen these anywhere that you can buy them. So I can salvage these. It's just a matter of drilling out all the welds that are on here, and then that should hopefully come off. I'll just clean it off and I can reuse that. So I'll set time lapse up, get this off, and then we'll sort of go from there. Once this is off, I can lay my templates on here a bit better. I can't get everything flush at the moment because these all stick out here. So my idea is to get this off and then I can hold my templates up. Hello there and welcome back to the C70 1964 Rebuild. So in the last video you saw me sort of ripping, cutting the back frame apart and getting all the rusty bits cut out, which is 90% sort of done now. I've still got to clean up on the insides of these reveals and underneath and everything, but at the moment now my priority is now going to be turned to these strengthening panels, which are located, I'm not sure which side was which, they're like this, so they're located like this up inside. Sorry, no, this is this side, so they go this way. So, and that they're behind the main section of the frame, so they sort of sit up there, inside there, something like that. That hole here lines up this hole here. They're like that, and then basically it then overlaps onto this back section and overlaps onto the main strengthening chassis on the bulk of the frame as such. So this sort of, it's behind the scenes as such, and it's just given everything some strength and sort of tying every bit in together, which to be fair is going to help with the repair, because where I've cut this at the moment it sort of overlaps every single place, and I'll probably add a slight extra bit on just to pick up this edge here, so I can so everything will be tied in a lot better than it would be. So my mission now is to get these completely cleaned, get all this old metal off the face here, which is still part of the external frame, get these cleaned up, and then I can assess exactly what bits I need to cut out and where I need to weld some new bits in to try and make these good, because I've tried to find these as replacements and apparently they're very, very difficult to find, get hold of, because obviously everyone's used them in the past, I'm guessing. So anyway, I think I can get these fixed, so let's go and get them cleaned up and we'll see where we go from there. to try and repair these support panels today, which go up inside the wheel arch of the bike. These just purely there for strengthening purposes. These are never seen. You can't, or I can't find these anywhere. I've been looking online now for a while. I've not even seen a picture of these panels anywhere, so I guess people just make them themselves if they're completely shot like mine is. As you can see, there's this bit's all missing, this is here, this is here. I've checked the thickness of this. I think these originally should be between 1.2 mil and 1.5 mil, so I've got some 1.2 mil sheet. I was going to try and weld all this in and repair it, but like I said, I tried the thickness, and 90% of this is sort of under a millimetre, and by the time I've spent hours and hours and hours welding this, it's never going to look the same. I'm never going to be able to replicate all the inlays and all the dents and whatnot which are in this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this shape out of a sheet piece of metal. This channel here, which is probably hard to see, which is this one here, there's a cable run through this from where the fuse, well, say fuse box, where the battery is, along both sides for the indicators and whatnot. So I might just try and put this groove in my new panels, but the rest of it, as long as it fits in nicely and gives me something for strengthening, I'm not too fussed about these indents. I'll never be able to make it look the same as this. I mean, you could spend days and days and days, and to be fair, I don't think there's really any point. So the main thing is this bit at the back here needs to be strong, because this is where this sort of overlays where the big section on repairing finishes, and then the end of the mudguard is a separate part which overlays by about this much. So, and then that welds onto to give it the strength to tie it all in together. So I think for now I just need to get this and get it tucked in inside, make sure I can bend this curve here on this end here, because that curves round in on the top of the mudguard. Make sure it all lays nice and flat on, and then once I've got it all tacked into place, I'll seam seal all the way around everywhere to stop as much water as you can get in behind these, because obviously this is probably why these bikes in that area rust out so much, because these panels are up in there behind there, and then the water can get in between this and the outer skin, and obviously the consequences of what's happened to this bike over the years. I think they rust from the inside of the mudguard outwards is what's obviously happened to this one. But I mean, obviously if you get some scratches on your paintwork and whatnot, it will rust from the outside as well, but I'm pretty confident this is probably the reason most of these bikes are rusted in that area, purely because they're not sealed and the water just sits behind them. So I'm going to flip over to my other camera and start cutting some metal up, and hopefully I'll see what I end up with at the end. So let's go and see what happens next. Right, so as you just saw there, just finished making these panels. They are very similar to the ones that were already on the bike, but obviously at the moment they haven't got the indents in. I don't think I'm going to put them in. By putting this curve in this, which is hard to see, is give that so much strength. But once I've spot welded or tack welded all these on, I'll put probably a few more in than what would have been on there originally. This is just going to help strengthen that frame up so much. I wanted to keep I wanted to retain this groove here, which is for there's a cable that runs each side, I think, for the indicators. So I've obviously replicated that, which has strengthened these up loads as well. So these are never seen. I know they're not going to be identical, but I think this is the best that I can do. And like I said, they're never going to be seen. And once they're up to there, I'm going to seam, once this is all fit, painted, I'm going to seam seal all this up to stop as much water getting in as possible. Obviously I've got to drill the holes still, which are marked, but I'll probably wait until I've sort of got this tacked or sort of clamped in place to make sure I get the holes in exactly the right place. I might have to do a bit more fettling to these once I've got the frame sort of repaired a bit more. So, but anyway, at the moment this is as good as I think I need to get at this stage anyway. So what I'm now going to do is I'm now going to flip back to the bike. I'm going to get rid of all the rust under the mudguard, get it prepped up, get a load of rust remedy on there, and try and get all that inside of the frame. Nice fresh clean metal. See if there's any other bits that need repairing at the same time, I'll find them and maybe get them cut out. But anyway, I don't really know what I'm going to find until I start sort of having a bit more of a scrape around in there. So I'm just going to flip over, get that done, and we'll see where we go from there.